Now, where are you from?
I am from Suffolk, Virginia, originally, but I currently live in Augusta, Georgia.
And why'd you move?
My family, my dad, he ended up in Georgia, and of course, we moved with him.
Now, let's take it back a little bit. What type of student were you in school?
In school, I was really smart, but I got bored easily. I was a tomboy. I kind of, I really don't want to say, but I used to fight a lot in school. But that is because my dad had me in karate and kickboxing as a child, and I was in it, and so, yeah, I kind of used it a lot.
You were the aggressor or defending yourself?
Oh, always defending myself. I never pick any fights with anybody. That's not my character.
What were you fighting over?
When you're the new girl in school and you come from a different place, and I came from Virginia and I came to Augusta, so it was like a total different atmosphere, and so I was different, and you know how girls are. Girls can be very catty.
Now, did you graduate high school?
Actually, I did not graduate high school. I left because of the same things that I was just telling you about. And I left early at 16, and I got my GED at 16. And I was actually not supposed to do so, but they let me do it because you're supposed to be 17. So I got my GED, and then I went to college, and yeah, that's it.
You finished college, graduated?
No, I started racing.
So you started college a little bit, and
Yeah,
then you started racing?
Yeah, and then I went back to college, and it was just like it just wasn't for me, and not to say, I always encourage everybody to stay in school, but my job, what I wanted to do, just so happened I didn't have to go to school.
So wait, I'm kind of confused. So you start college, then you start racing, and then you go back to college? I'm curious. How did that?
Well, I started like a technical college.
Okay.
To just get my basic classes done before I actually enrolled in college. And then I got my basic classes, and then I kind of just started doing my own thing.
So how much college did you get under your belt, would you say?
Altogether,
Freshman year, sophomore year?
Altogether, I got 2 years done.
So did you get your AA degree?
No, I didn't.
Oh, just did the first 2 years.
I kind of broke it up. I went the first time, and then I went back for paralegal studies to be a paralegal, because at one point in time I wanted to be a lawyer. So I wanted to start off with that, but I just kind of just went into my own world, doing my own thing, and just branched out, trying to make myself happy and do what I love to do. College isn't for everyone.
Yeah, now let's talk about that for a second. What do you say to somebody watching this thinking about enrolling into college? Because like you said, college isn't for everybody. There's some people that recommend going to college. There's some people that don't recommend going to college. There's some people that recommend like a different type of school, like a tech school or that sort of thing, a trade school. Some people dropped out of college and become very successful, like Bill Gates, Kanye West.
Right.
And some people get a degree and don't even end up having a job they got a degree in.
Right.
So what do you say to somebody thinking about enrolling into college?
I would tell them to always go with their heart. If college is something that you want to do, education is always great. I always encourage people to further their education, but if that's something that you just don't want to do, that doesn't determine whether you'll be successful or not. But school is great. You should go. If you're thinking about enroll, do it. But for me personally, it just wasn't me at the time.
Jobs you had growing up, if any?
Oh my God, jobs I had growing up. I worked at Popeyes. I worked at Subway. I worked in a legal office. It was like kind of like a after school program, And so I did that, and that's pretty much it.
Now, why so many jobs? Did you quit these jobs? Did you get fired from these jobs?
No, I did a lot of moving. I did a lot of moving in my early years. I was kind of back and forth from Virginia to Georgia, from Georgia to North Carolina, from North Carolina back to Virginia, and then I ended up in Georgia. So I've been here for a while now.
Any crazy stories dealing with any of those jobs you just mentioned?
Yeah, my Popeyes, I worked at Popeyes, and I got hired, and my very first day, I thought I did good, and like the manager, she called me the next day. The crazy thing about it, she didn't even call me, she called my mom. And she was like, tell your daughter to bring her uniform because we're not gonna use her anymore. And I'm like, I'll only work one day, so what do you mean you don't want to use me? What did I do wrong? And she just couldn't give me an explanation. And it was just funny to me because I was like, that's almost worse than Craig on Friday. You get fired on your day off. So it was funny to me.
Now, explain the transition from those type of jobs into racing. How does that happen? How does that work?
Well, honestly, I didn't stay at any of those jobs long enough to gain any traits or to anything from those jobs. It was just, I was just trying to find myself, have my own money, because I've always been independent, and I felt like, you should always have your own. And as far as the racing, it was never really like a transition because I've been around racing all my life. My dad is a racer. My uncle was a racer. My cousin, he does drag racing. So it wasn't really a transition. It was just a kind of a wake-up call. Like, okay, you have to figure out what you want to do because you're not being consistent with anything that you're doing. You didn't finish school. You haven't worked at these jobs long. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do? So, it was just like a wake-up call for me, like, okay, I can make a career out of this, out of a passion, instead of trying to work for someone else that I really don't even want to be there.